Hello and welcome back to another game rather, where we don't draw lands in our opening 7. I'm Drew Levin and this is Storm. We will absolutely keep this one, however, since we have turn 2 Tinker. Unlike most people, we don't play a we don't play a Blightsteel Colossus main, so we're gonna have to work a little for this win, but Tinker is generally a good start. It's alright. So, Underground Sea Preordain means that it's very likely that our opponent is playing Storm. Although I'm willing to reserve judgment. I'm sort of still willing to reserve judgment, but not really. Pretty sure our opponent's playing Storm. Oh, look, the card that we were going to tinker for. So we've got 7 mana so far. And Tinker can go get color. Tinker can go get anything that adds 2. Yeah. Unfortunately, our best mana producing Tinker target is in play. So we can tinker for Soul Ring, we can tinker for Jar. I kind of don't want to tinker for Jar, is the thing. Kind of just want to brainstorm and see what's up. Oh, God, Jesus. Wow. Just wow. Okay, well, this changes things somewhat. Our opponent has 2 active Force of Wills. But appears to be F6'd. Whatever. So 3, 6, 9, 10. So we can tinker and still cast Desire for a Zillion. Or we can... Yeah. I assume our opponent's Force Willing this one, and then we're Desiring for a Zillion. Rat, you countered our Tinker. What will I do? What did we get? Pearl. Okay. Plains. Duress. Good. Tendrils. Okay. Another Mox. Cool. Another Duress. And a Time Walk. This seems to be shaking out pretty well for us. In that we're going to kill them. Right here and now. That was an okay Mind's Desire. Yeah. You have an Abrupt Decay. Booyah. Okay. Well. Force Mana Drain. Tragically not good enough. The power of Mind's Desire, ladies and gentlemen. Never unban it in Legacy. Jesus Christ, I would do awful things to the format. So would a lot of other people who are way smarter than me. Not ever gonna get unbanned. Never. Just don't do it. Okay. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, against the Mana Drain Force of Will Abrupt Decay deck, I'm pretty sure they're going to keep like some bounce so that they can like answer a Blightsteel or whatever. I don't really want to deal with like all of that. I just want to tear their hand up and like kill them. So, not interested in Hercules, not interested in Chain. If they beat us with like Cage or whatever, then that's good for them. Color Ritual is pretty marginal against them. Color Ritual is just kind of marginal in general. Whatever. And Windfall is probably not great. Because, like, if they're just, like, casting a bunch of stuff, and, like they force something and then we Windfall for 3. Like, ooh. We played a card that would be overpowered in Standard. Would, like, 3 mana draw 3 even be overpowered in Modern? I guess it would be good. I doubt it would be, like, the best thing you could be doing for 3 mana. Anyway. All this disruption. The reason they're all Pyroblasts is so that you don't have to have a valid target for casting them in case we need to up our storm count. So I'm not a big fan of splitting that. So, now that we know what we're playing against, the hand of 5 action spells, 1 Duress, and 1 Lotus Petal is probably not going to cut it. Just as it would not cut it in literally any other matchup, including Limited. This, however, quite alright. I don't anticipate Wasteland out of a Mana Drain deck, so I'm fine getting Underground Sea here. Like, I don't think that a 3-color, like an Abrupt Decay Mana Drain deck can afford to play Wasteland, especially since a pretty important part of any vintage mana base is some number of non-blue Moxen. And so, like, you don't really want to add a ton of mana to your deck when you're just, like, casting Counterspell with Upside. So, yeah, I don't see the room for Wasteland. Also, you're not even, like, a good Wasteland deck. Like, you're not punishing them. You're not Crucibling it back. You don't have Strip Mine. You're just not interested in trading your mana for theirs. Ugh. This could get ugly. What's in your hand? Tell me. I want to know. Okay, fine. Rude. Another misstep? No more missteps. Okay. Well, we can play top off of this thing. This ruby. I also want to know what's in their hand. Show me your hand. Jesus. I didn't want to know what was in their hand. Force. Green. Fluster. Mystical. God. Okay, your turn. Little top. Ooh. That's a lot of good cards. You want to counter this one? You're going to have to use a Force or a Drain. You're also going to have to activate your Black Lotus if you want to do that. Okay. Lotus in. You're up. feel like I would have fired off that mystical for ancestral at some point. Like, if you're looking for lands here, let me tell you how to find lands. Okay, so I think we're just fine holding up Pyroblast here. Oh god, did they hear me? Rats! I don't know, do you wanna draw land? His correct play is to pass with Flusterstorm up. I hope he casts Ancestral. Pyroblast the hell out of that. No, you gotta use Force or your Lotus. Either of which I am okay with. And that's why you wanted to do it on my turn. At the end of my turn. Cool. We have Pyroblasted our opponent's Ancestral Recall. Which, in my book, is a huge, huge win for us. Also, Jesus, we have so many good cards. Just so many. So we can't really let them drain our Necro, is the thing. So I think we're just passing back. We're drawing Ritual and passing back. Actually, I'm stupid. We're getting more mana into play. Cool. Our opponent continues to be choked on mana, and we continue to develop our quote-unquote mana base. Wow. That's a lot of counter magic. Force, drain, fluster, song. And Dragon's Breath. Okay, so they're like Oath. That's what they're doing. They're an Oath deck. Also, we just like keep topping into restricted cards. It's sweet. Okay. So we don't really want to draw another draw 7, is the thing. And we're fine having our opponent discard, because, like, we're down on cards. And we're definitely fine drawing Time Walk. Discard Emrakul. Okay. Hey, we drew a second land. If you drew Ancestral, then, like, you can have it. Lotus into Jace? I mean, Jace is just like a brainstorm here. That's fine. So now they're just down to their 2 forces. We can definitely beat 2 forces. We have 3 must counters coming. Like, they have to have Mox Sapphire here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 mana with the potential for, like, way more. That casts all of these, or 2 of these and Time Walk, and the 3rd on the next turn. And they took the card that I wanted to cast the least, because it doesn't win next turn, unlike all of the other ones that we're about to draw. Okay, so Wheel on bottom, Demonic in the middle, Ritual on top. Just so we don't mess this up, we're going to draw this now. Kick off by casting a ritual that we obviously drew. Good start. So we're going to crack this Twister, and he has to counter it. Because otherwise he loses both of his forces, and we get a zillion mana floating. And this isn't the card that we want to resolve. This is. I lied, this is. Alright. Well, now all your forces are gone. And we have if I recall correctly, a Wheel of Fortune on the top of our deck. That is not a very good wheel hand. It's going to be on our opponent to draw really well from here, given how many of their good cards are just out of the game. And given that we've got the ability to cast just bargain into jar over the next 2 turns. So they didn't draw Oath of Druids, which is good. That's unfortunate. Well, now we basically have to cast top if he lets us keep it, since we can't really just jam one threat in, get it countered, and pass. Although, like, the card that they're the most likely to have is Misstep, but okay. So they took top. And they tinker for Blightsteel, which is cool. And I assume it's on us to win the game from here. So we get a pretty good look at how much free mana is left. So, like, obviously we want to get to Yogwill. We are drawing pretty short on black mana, so I guess we actually just want to jar and pop it. Although I guess if we're looking to draw will, we may as well Mystical for it. Oops. That was an awkward but almost terrible misclick. Get out of here. So anyway, we drew the best possible card in the entire game, which is of course, Moxjet. And now we get to kill our opponent, which is really cool. I've always wanted to do that. Killing our opponent, I mean. It's like a big thing for me. Ritual, ritual, ritual. Blue for Mystical Tutor. Get tendrils. Probe them. They still have nothing. And tendrils them. Cool. So that's, I guess, how you do it. Your opponent has Jason Blightsteel in play, and you tendrils them. In case anyone was wondering how you beat Jace plus Blightsteel in Vintage, it's by casting Tendrils of Agony. I'll see you in a bit.